Silly. I sent you the link. Dude, I don't know. We're just testing.
Test. Is that my copy or is that yours? It's mine. Oh, you bought it? Yeah, it is. I only got to a few pages in, but I really like how
I sent it to Celine.
Oh my god, look, it's a 30-second delay, but look,
it's like 1,000 words. They're just like really.
I forgot that I'm literally on there. Yo, chat.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Can you hear it though?
I need to check, 'cause I didn't know if the audio, like if hearing the audio will fuck up the... Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna read this one before.
Perfect. Okay. I'm looking. Oh, that's so stupid. That's literally so stupid.
Oh, you're gonna record it?
They're live on YouTube.
Clothing is like so janky. That's me. I'm your concurrent viewer. Should I write something?
Try it. I don't know if I can see the chat. Oh.
Sorry, buddy.
It's okay. It's fine.
Can you see the... I wrote something.
Let me see. It doesn't even tell me that I'm streaming right now. Here. I can't see it, but
It's okay. Just keep it, don't touch anything.
Where's my live, dude? Hell yeah. Oh my gosh, I can watch my live. One watching. Fuck, I'm hiding the chat. Okay. Write something. Oh, is that you?
That's me.
Wait, okay.
I'll read the chair.
Yeah. And see yourself. Siren, S-I-R-E-N. Yeah, you use my friend Simon. Is that your rat? Why are you so far away?
Alright. This is off.
I had.
You can leave it off. It's fine.
Like that made my sense in like my. But I'm like, I don't want to.
Oh. Yes, it's really to eat like. Yeah, I feel that.
So,
Like sometimes I have like something really good over you. Yeah.
it was like so much more about that.
style do you
You
use?
guys mind, like,
You want to use it now?
very short.
Like before you finish, can you use half a tutorial?
I
Before
don't
you
want
finish, can you use it?
okay.
I'm not. You heard.
You heard what? Superman Columbus? Heard what?
Okay, maybe I'll get started. Wait. What? I just lost all of my. There we go. Okay, good. I'm back. So, a few announcements, and then I'm gonna give a lecture. So let me talk about today. Here's the things I want to get done today. I want to figure out what the plan is for next week. Next week is the final review of this project. So I want to talk about approaches like that. That's one. Two, oh yeah, we'll do that. And then two, I want to, I have a lecture today to sort of introduce the next unit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break the lecture in half because it's already heavy and we're still in this process. So maybe next week, or I might just record the lecture. We'll figure something out. And then other than that, there's why don't we just talk about next week? So next week is the final review. What kind of format do you guys want for the final review? I can invite in guests. We could just do like exhibition setup if you wanted. We could do presentations. What would people prefer? Or I'm very open to suggestions. Fine.
I think exhibition.
Maybe you want to do exhibition?
I think it'd be really cool if we like did a circle with our chairs and then just like show and tell.
Show and tell. One option. Do people have stuff that has to hang? Yeah? Maybe. Okay, we have show and tell, we have exhibition.
I think we can clash a little exhibition and then a little, like whoever has like a different portion, they bring a different format.
Totally, okay. What else? Could be a little clash, I like that idea. Do people want me to invite in externals? Hands up if you want externals. Hands up if you don't want externals. Hands up if you're profoundly ambivalent on externals. Hands up if you're ambivalent about being ambivalent about externals. Okay, now we've kind of got everybody. I think now we've captured everyone. Good. Okay. So it sounds like we're gonna. Maybe I'll do a check-in. Maybe I'll do a check-in on this week. I don't know. We'll see. So maybe what we'll just do is we'll do. Well, let's see. In terms of formats, do we have it? Let me go through this again. Anyone who's hanging, you're gonna hang. You might have something hanging on a wall, correct? Yes, and I responded. Okay, so hopefully you're gonna have something to show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether it's like I'm like 80% done, I'll bring something.
Okay, yeah. If it's 80% done, bring in what you got, and then you just take a few others, really fine. Yeah. How many people have stuff that you want people to like touch and hold on to? Like tactility is going to be important. Okay. How many of you have stuff that needs to like sit on like a surface? How many of you have digital interactions? Okay. How many of you have time-based media for your final output? All right. I think we're gonna, why don't we do this then? I think we're gonna do a mixture of all three. Some of you are gonna have to present, it's clear. Some of you are gonna want a more informal setting, and then some of you might want to have something that operates more like an exhibition. So why don't we do this? Why don't we get in, we claim space, we set up our work. I wanna limit the amount that people have to explain their work. That is my dream for this project, is that the work operates clear enough that somebody can just approach it and there's enough cues in place for them to start to piece out the operations of that piece. So why don't we go for, what we're gonna do is we'll set up an we'll set it up as an exhibition. We'll give it some time for like a walkabout type of activity. So that just means we're gonna set it up first like 20 to 25 minutes. Then what we'll do as a group is we will walk around and look at work collectively without being sort of prompted. And then maybe we will spend the rest of the class just talking about individual projects. And if people need to present something linearly, they can present it linearly. Sound good? Yeah, good. Any problems? Okay, good. There's that. Let's see. I'm pushing the reading forward a week, which, because the week after this week is reading week, we're pushing it forward 2 weeks. Just because we're still working on this. And then that's it. And so today what I was thinking what we would do is, we've done sort of full class reviews, we've done some small group reviews. Would people like to do one-on-ones today? That make sense? Great. Hopefully we'll get through. Oh shit. There's a lot of people here. I keep forgetting this is a class of 28 people. Alright, you know what, we're just gonna rip, we're gonna go through it, we're gonna see where we get. I have this lecture today. Okay, sorry, this is my last question for the day. I have a lecture today that introduces the next assignment. The thing is, it's gonna take up enough time that it will eat significantly into review time. How many of you how many of you don't need feedback today? Just out of curiosity, how many of you are just like, look, I'm working on my thing. I need to see feedback from a few of you whose work who I haven't seen any work yet. So a couple of you, like I just would need to see something. So I'm gonna save that time. So let's do hands up again. Okay. All right. A few of you I think I do need to see. All right, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna jump into the lecture. I'm not gonna waste any more time. Sound good? Let's do that. All right, so this second assignment is going to be devoted to the question of labor. I'm going to split this lecture up into 2 weeks because I want to ensure that we have some time today, and also because I think it's a little bit heavy. So usually when we talk about labor, I think labor comes up a lot. There are these sort of associations that we think about, like these archaic perceptions of like workers leaving factories, or the question of like automation comes in, where we start to think about like the sort of like outsourcing of labor to machines. But what I'm really like preoccupied with is how labor presents itself within the creative process, both as a task, so what are people's actual processes and the labor that they go through for their process, but also as a topic of like creative practices. So there's going to be some heavy texts in here, but I'm going to go through it as best I can. I want to take a step back, and I want to just start with a working definition of labor. And so for me personally, I prefer like a Marxist approach to starting to think about labor. I'm going to apologize for some of the gendered language here. Next week's lecture, or I guess when I get to the second half of this lecture, is going to offer a slightly more feminist perspective on the question of labor. But basically in Capital Volume 1, Marx defines labor as a process which both man and nature participate, which man of his own accord starts, regulates, and controls the material reactions between himself and nature. He uses a capital N. He opposes himself to nature as one of her own forces, setting in motion arms and legs, head and hands, the natural forces of his body in order to appropriate nature's productions in a form adapted to his own wants. So it's basically saying this idea that labor is this relationship of transformation between a person and nature. By thus acting on the external world and changing it, he is at the same time changes his own nature. And at the end of every labor process, we get a result that already existed in the imagination of the laborer at its commencement. And this is kind of like contingent on this very Marx's view of humanity as being this force which can where consciousness becomes really important, and the way that consciousness can sort of affect the outcome of this transformational process is really central. So ultimately what I like about Marx's definition of labor is this idea that there's like a two-way relationship of transformation between a person and nature. And I think that really bodes well for other topics. Like when we talk about the idea of the Anthropocene, the implications of this idea that like nature, that we're in an era where like the predominant force of change on the planet becomes humanity. So in some ways, it ties in well with this question of labor. So the thing that I keep thinking about lately is like, what is design labor? What do we talk about when we're talking about design labor? So on one end, we kind of think about it as like the production of things, like the production of artifacts, or at bare minimum, the production of the surface of artifacts, where we design something that lays over top a substrate. So whether it's printing, whether it's creating like the graphics for something, it's creating the outside of it. But there's this other side to what sort of graphic design does, which I think is a little bit more ineffable, which is this question of the production of culture, the production of style, the production of sort of like, the production of sort of visual grammars, if you will. And I don't think that's always been the case. This is a bug from the International Typographical Union. And historically, like what we call graphic design today wasn't actually a thing until the like mid-20th century. And all of the things that we think that graphic designers do now, production of images, printing, working with typography, all of these things were a series of different like categories of jobs that over time became part of something very specific. So I'm going to just run through this movie a little bit. This is a movie called Farewell et Mon Chertalou, which was, I can't see it very well. I'm just going to, where's the sound? Where are you at, buddy? There we go. We're dealing with no sound. Is this a no sound situation? Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's doing that thing again. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I'm just doing this. If you're gonna do this before, I'm gonna do it that. Just do it right now. Hold on. We're gonna restart the computer. My apologies. Back here. One second.
What?
Let's try it again.
Yeah. Shut up. Yeah.
I'm gonna give up in 3, 2. Yeah, okay, here we go. Back up.
Its excellence, and has selected it to represent the United States of America in international motion picture events abroad.
So this is a film that was made on the last day. Does anybody know the story of this film? Has this ever come up in any of your classes? This is a film that was filmed by
We're
a
fast
type.
approaching press time for the first edition of tomorrow morning's paper. This printer has just finished makeup of a page. In the next 56 minutes, all pages must be finished and recorded to meet the edition deadline of 9 p.m. But tonight's deadline is special. This New York Times mirror image inlet of tomorrow's dateline reads backwards as Sunday, July 2nd, 1978. It marks the last day of an age-old method of printing in this compulsory. What you are now witnessing will exist after tonight only as a filmed historic record. For the century of the linotype machine is nearing its end. Using 535-degree molten lead, it sets solid lines of type called cut type, cast in newspaper column. Now cooled, a printer's hands prepare the lines for insertion into a column of the page. Headlines are still set by hand, with type stored in traditional California cases and in time-worn Ludlow cabinets. By morning, relics of the past.
This film was produced in 1978 by one of the typesetters, and this is all shot on the last day that the New York Times used hot metal printing for their newspaper. After this day, they threw out all their linotype machines and they switched over to photo typesetting. And I think that this is a really interesting document of this specific moment, in that it represents this moment where graphic design stopped being a series of laborious tasks and started to emerge as something else in a lot of ways. Or it was part of that realm. Let's see. Let's go forward a bit and see. Let's see if I can find him talking a little bit.
Wait, make a big change down here.
Okay.
Press it.
There we go. Come on, buddy. Here we go. New York Times. All right. You know what? I'm going to include it as a link. We're going to keep moving. Okay. I think that's a really interesting moment. I think the mood in that documentary, as you watch it, people are a little bit bitter. People are sad because they're all losing their jobs that day. That the efficiency of the technology is changing, the nature of the technology is changing, and I think that one major, and it tells a story that one of the major aspects of labor is that the tasks that are involved in labor are always subject to the change that occurs inside the technology that is being used. So this is a picture of a medieval scribe. This is the sort of like standard of like letter formation that existed prior to the printing press, where everything was written by hand, where texts themselves were much more sacred and sort of much more restricted to a very, very limited set of a population. And then what we're looking at here is the first sort of hot metal typeface in Europe, which was developed by Johannes Gutenberg. And what you'll notice is there's some interesting things that start to show up, is that there are multiple variations of individual letters. I'm always really fascinated by that, because the early printing was intended to replicate the look and feel of hand-drawn type, because that was it was a bit of a skeuomorph for that original thing. But ultimately what he did is he carved out multiple variations as a way of like falsifying that, but he had to create multiple letters, and in some ways breaking down the production process of typesetting into the task of building out carving out movable type, setting movable type, and printing, kind of anticipated the Fordist model in a lot of ways. Do people know what I mean when I talk about the Fordist model? The idea of taking a job. It's like taking like the production of something. In this case, the Ford Model T car. And rather than have people working on building the car, you break that down into smaller and smaller tasks. So your job might be merely attaching one singular part of the car. You're attaching the grille to the car as it passes through you. It's what we talk about when we talk about the production line in a lot of ways. I'm going to skip this. I'm going to skip this quote from Antonio Gramsci, but I really like this as like a conversation around the relationship between design labor and typesetting labor and or typesetting and labor. And in it, he kind of talks about this idea that to be a really good typographer, you kind of have to be a bad reader, because the more you read, the more of the text that you're working with, the more inefficient of a typographer you're going to be. So when we talk about labor, if we're taking sort of like a bit more of a Marxist approach, I like to also talk about the notion of surplus value. And surplus value is this idea of the difference that's being raised between the amount through the sale of something versus the amount that it is cost to produce. So anything that you make, anything that enters into an economy, the goal is to maximize that amount of surplus value. It's not even like a Marxist thing, it predates that, but we often think about the rising automation and rising technology as an opportunity to extract more surplus value from it. So we can talk about suddenly a computer allows a designer to do many, many more things, but that doesn't really change. That ultimately doesn't actually change, or ultimately the change that occurs there ends up becoming a bigger societal change. So that is often what we refer to as relative surplus value, where you have like upon the introduction of a new technology or a new process, the surplus value immediately takes a jump, but very quickly that surplus value gets lost, because as more and more people adopt it, that becomes just part and parcel of the production process. So the moment movable type entered into the production of Bibles, let's say, Bibles got way easier to be made. So Johannes Gutenberg effectively, I mean, he did die broke, but this is another story. Like, in theory, could have made much more money because of the cost of Bibles, but very quickly, the number of Bibles that were being produced suddenly created this gap between the effective cost and the amount and the sort of market demand for it. So there's another form of surplus value, and that is absolute surplus value, and that is just the amount. That is a different equation. And that equation, I should be drawing up these as equations, really. That equation is the difference between the amount that you're paying for as a producer of something, so the amount of money that you're paying for the labor to produce something, and the amount of money that you're selling for it. So the less you pay someone to make something that you sell, and the more you sell it, that constitutes the sort of major source where income can come in. And I think that sort of like the task of design is that we're constantly kind of victims to this relative surplus value, because the tools are constantly changing, because the amount of expectations are constantly changing because of automation. That at one point, if you were a designer who sort of knew how to code, you had this amazing ability to shorten the length of time that it took to make anything. But now that expectation is sort of built into every design artifact, then suddenly it's worth less. Anyways, as a designer, I think things have changed. I think the labor of creative production now often feels confined to these sort of tasks. And I'm going to make a reference here to the next guest speaker in graphic design research methods. Is in his piece called American Graphic Design in the 1990s, Deindustrialization and the Death of the Author, Jada Kroger-Brown talks about this idea about how graphic design started to pivot from this realm of these sort of like easily organizable tasks in the form of typesetting into this much more ephemeral realm. And this is a quote from him. Throughout the mid-1980s, students in graduate design programs, most centrally at the Cranbrook Academy of Art in Detroit, in the Detroit suburbs, were turning to literary and cultural theory in their search for new methods and forms. The stage was set for a broad transformation of design practice. Forgot to put that picture in. Apologies. Okay, so I'm almost done here. Let's get to the two kinds of labor that I want us to really think about with this final assignment. Or not this final assignment, this next assignment, as we're going into it. So the first one, we talk about invisible labor, that labor which you can't see in things. the labor which is deliberately obfuscated from the view of the user. And I think this is a very invisible labor oftentimes is a big part of graphic design, because so much of what we end up doing is about creating smooth surfaces over things, you know? I talked about this already. This is a diagram of a mechanical Turk, which was a chess-playing robot from the 17th century. And really what it served is this box served to obfuscate a person hiding inside the box, making calculations, like actually playing the game of chess underneath here to make his decision. I think there's a camera obscura that allows the chess player to see what's happening. And the whole idea was to create this sense of an automaton that was capable of intelligent thought. And I think that this is a very good example of a lot of things that are happening right now. This is a project by a sort of conceptual, an artist named Clement Vala called Solowit plus Mechanical Turk, where he took the instructions from Solowit pieces and he sent it through the Amazon Mechanical Turk service, which is a definitive example of that realm of invisible labor. What it is a service where you can pay people extraordinarily small amounts of money to perform rote activities. So you can say, you can let's say you've interviewed a bunch of people. You can go on Amazon Mechanical Turk and you can send it to different people, and you can get them to say to transcribe one small section of it to sort of speed up the process. So what he did is he took Solowit's wall drawings, and if you don't know who Solowit was, he was a conceptual artist who died in the early 2000s, but was very, his sort of heyday was in the 70s and 60s, and all of the artworks would come with instructions so that they could continue to be remade and remade. And so he took those instructions and he just passed them on to various Mechanical Turk users, paying them 5 cents per line, and would get them to try and recreate them. And the result is, on this side is the sort of intended result, and on this side is the interpretive result. I think a lot about like the kind of invisible labor of tech these days. And I don't think that this project requires the invisible labor, like tech to be part of it, but anyways. This is an image from an article about Facebook content moderators. So it's basically people whose job it is to sit on their computer all day and look at the most horrific things that show up on Facebook and take things down. So the feeling that something is that there's some sort of machine learning algorithm that's keeping the most like horrifying things like on social media away from you. Actually, there are people who are constantly reviewing things as quickly as possible. And there was a great article that sort of talked about the emotional and traumatic tolls that this took on people. This is invisible labor. The intent of this is to make it feel like it is automated. I found this article. This is a perfect example of invisible labor. The AI startup that is erasing call center worker accents. So as call center workers from India will talk into the phone, it'll run through an AI algorithm to make it sound like to give basically that person an American accent. That is invisible labor. And there are a few kind of projects and artists and meme pages that exist to kind of combat, or not combat, that exist to sort of materialize or visualize invisible labor. There's the meme page. There's like a kind of like magazine / sort of movement / meme page, which is Art Handler Mag, and what they like to sort of, they're comprised of people who work for artists but aren't necessarily the artists themselves. So gallery assistants, art handlers, the people who pack up paintings and whatnot. And so there's those kinds of things. In 2010, a writer named Graham Beck wrote a really interesting article for Frieze magazine, where he interviewed the people who tend to the pieces by the artist Walter D. Maria. So is anyone familiar with this artwork? Has anyone ever seen this artwork before? This is called, so Walter D. Maria was a kind of minimalist sculptor who was obsessed with like precise measurement. This is called the New York City Earth Room, and it's in Soho. And what it is just a Soho apartment that has 1 precise meter of dirt that is buried in the whole thing. But here's the thing, dirt is like a really expressive medium. Lots of things grow in dirt. So every day, Bill Dilworth, who has worked for Walter D. Maria and continues to work for him even though Walter D. Maria is dead, since 1977, wakes up in a nearby apartment, gets up, has to go to the earth room, tends to the earth room, removes the mushrooms, like flattens out the surface. And he does all of this. And in essence, is he a part of the artwork? I don't know. Is like at what point, now that his labor hours have so far exceeded even the labor hours of the artist himself, at what point is he the author of that artist? At what point does his invisible labor constitute authorship? Here's another example. Robert and Patty Weathers, who've been doing the same thing for Walter D. Maria in New Mexico. This is the lightning field, which is way, way, way out in remote New Mexico. And what it is a series of lightning rods that are equally spaced apart in a field. And to get there, it's about a day's drive from anywhere. So when you get there, you have to stay there. And the person who helped build, Robert Weathers, helped build the lightning field with Walter D. Maria. On top of that, he lives out there, and he picks people up. He drives them to it. Him and his wife take care of the people who come on pilgrimage to the lightning field. He tends to it. He's famous for cooking lasagna, and so people would have lasagna at the lightning field. And again, I have this question: where does that later show up in terms of authorship? This is a I think I talked about this already. Did I talk about this in the beginning? Yeah. This is a project by Benjamin Shaken, where he went through and he looked for the scanned hands of women scanning Google Books. You know what? I'm just going to show this. I bet you it's not going to work. Let's just see what happens.
In September 2007, I was hired jointly by Trains Video Studios and Google, both headquartered in Mountain View, California. Trains Video had a contract with Google and took care of 100% of their video production in Mountain View, and sometimes elsewhere. My labor was sold to Google in the form of a 9-to-5 job. I had access to a personally unprecedented amount of privileges, but was not entitled to the ski trips, Disneyland adventures, stock options, and holiday cash bonuses from their team of temporary Santa Clauses. Thousands of people with red badges, such as me, my team, and most other contractors, worked amongst thousands of people with white badges as full-time Googlers. Interns are given green badges. However, a fourth class exists at Google that involves strictly data entry labor, or more appropriately, the labor of digitizing. These workers are identifiable by their yellow badges, and they go by the team name ScanOps. They scan books, page by page, for Google Book Search. The workers wearing yellow badges are not allowed any of the privileges that I was allowed. Ride the Google bikes, take the Google luxury limo shuttles home, eat free gourmet Google meals, attend authors at Google Talks, and receive free signed copies of the author's books, or set foot anywhere else on campus, except for the building they work in. They also were not given backpacks, mobile devices, thumb drives, or any chance for social interaction with any other Google employees. Most Google employees don't know about the yellow badge class. Their building, 3.1459, was next to mine, and I used to see them leave every day at precisely 2:15 p.m., like a bell just rang, telling the workers to leave the factory. Their shift starts at 4 a.m. I found the social arrangement interesting, and at a certain point, I decided to investigate the rationale behind Google's decision to exclude the yellow badge class from most privileges the company has to offer, despite the fact that their labor takes place in the Google building with a Google sign up front and are being contracted to Google by another company just like my team, and just like other informational laborers, the kitchen staff, the shovel drivers, the custodians, and more. Eventually, I asked a superior on my team if I could borrow a camera to go out in the parking lot and videotape the yellow badged workers leaving the 3.1459 factory. That footage didn't turn out very well, so I did it again a week later. I decided if I were to represent these workers leaving the factory, it would be important to develop a relationship with the film subjects and welcome their perspective into the video. A week later, I approached a few of them to see if they would be willing to have a conversation in the near future about their jobs. The first girl mostly ignored me and started talking to someone on her cell phone. Two other young men said they'd be happy to talk about their work and accepted business cards with my email address. Another young man I approached was also...
I'm going to keep moving. You get the point? It's going to be an available link. That's a piece called Workers Leaving the Googleplex, and it is about basically this question of like the tiers of labor that even operate in the tech industry. This is just a screenshot from the website of the artist Penelope Umbrico, and I saw her give a speech once that I'll never forget. She is a photographer by trade, but has really moved her practice into collecting and curating. So she's famous for doing a piece of images of sunsets, thousands of images of sunsets that she collected, that she found on Flickr, and then she created a giant wall piece. And one time when I saw her speak, a photography student put his hand up and asked, okay, so if you didn't take the photos, are you the artist? And her take was very much, I am the artist. It's just that you're assuming that the act of collecting isn't taking up time. Anyways, I always loved that response. Okay, invisible labor we've talked about. This one's a little bit harder to understand. and so when I think about invisible labor on one end, we're going to talk a little bit about immaterial labor. And what I mean by immaterial labor is I'm talking about the labor that produces the informational and cultural content of the commodity. This is a reference. This is a quote from Maurizio Lazzarato, who wrote Immaterial Labor for eFlux many years ago, or not eFlux, for some. The concept of immaterial labor refers to two different aspects of labor. On one hand, as regards the informational content of the commodity, it refers directly to the changes taking place in workers' labor processes in big companies in the industrial and tertiary sectors, where the skills involved in direct labor are increasingly skills involving cybernetics and computer control. So basically, and horizontal and vertical communication. So Lazzarato is saying, okay, immaterial labor, this is a really important thing. I'm going to come up with two distinct definitions for this thing. So on one end, immaterial labor is the sort of movement away from production into service. So the movement into from factory work into developing the skills that involve cybernetics, computation. So it's the move from physical production into the realms of code, into the realms of management of workers, those sort of things. That is one end of material labor. It makes me think about this project by Sean Fenton, the photographer, called Bureaucratics, where he would show up in various places and take photos of people whose job it was to basically be the end point of bureaucracies, and he did this all over the world. And these are kind of a form of immaterial labor. It's the kind of shift from the productive economy to a service economy. Okay, that's the first half. Lazzarato talks about the other half of it. On the other hand, as regards the activities, the other half of what he describes as immaterial labor is that activity that produces the cultural content of the commodity. Immaterial labor involves a series of activities that are not normally recognized as work. And this is where this really is very familiar in my head when I read this. In other words, the kinds of activities involved in defining and fixing cultural and artistic standards, fashions, tastes, consumer norms, and more strategically, public opinion. One of the privileged domain of the bourgeoisie and its children, once the privileged domain of the bourgeoisie and its children, these activities have since the end of the 70s become the domain of what we have come to now define as mass intellectuality. a little hard to unpack here, but I think this. Defining and fixing cultural and artistic standards, fashions, tastes, consumer norms, and more. And more strategically, public opinion. I think that is an excellent definition of the kind of labor that gets produced at an institution like OCAD. I'm going to start with a video by a former OCAD student as part of her thesis, her graduate work. This is Rebecca Wilkinson's project called New Mechanic Exercises that tries to a bunch of Rebecca's work really touches on this question of making material immaterial labor.
The human is inseparable from the artifacts that it produces, with the human body having the extended shape of all the artifacts it has made, and each artifact being an intimate part of its biology and brain. What is human is the radicality of this mutual exchange, but also, and more important, the human emerges in the redefinition of capacity provided by the artifacts. In a sense, the artifacts are more human than humans. Each theory that locates the human at the center of design actually reinvents the human while acting as if it were always there. It is rational to think that the mechanics began with man, he being the only creature that nature has imposed most
This is a
necessity.
quote from a 17th century text that she's sort of trying to relate back to her own practice.
As instruments to perform it. If the human is a designing animal and the earth is its design studio, this animal is not just a unique and distinct creature moving and thinking within the
I think
rest.
this is her own text.
The figure of the human is not sharply defined. The human is part of the living earth. It is part of the living earth. Design literally takes shape, makes shape, through the indeterminacy of the human, makes shape. Or, to say it the other way around, there would be no concept of design if the human was something clear and stable. There would be no concept of design if the human was something clear and stable. In every case, there is a disciplining of the body that's implicitly contrasted to the endless everyday personal refashioning of the body through clothes, makeup, shaving, haircuts, manicures, ornaments, diet, posture, gait, and exercise. The silhouette that represents the human takes over that space of self-reconstruction with the image of the new normal body. It's as if the design of equipment and spaces is offered as the improved form-fitting clothing of this figure. But the basic figure, the schematic outline, is itself the product of design. The figure seemingly waiting for design is never innocent. It has been designed. The human is suspended in a complex and continuous back and forth between itself and artifacts, a flickering that ultimately dissolves the distinction between them. Is a machine invented upon mature consideration of mechanic powers, deducted from geometric principles, and therefore a pressman endowed with the competency of the inventor's genius may find great satisfaction in the contemplation of the harmonious design and make of a press. But as often as any member or part of it is out of order, he will know how to remedy any deficiency in it. The human is inseparable from the artifacts that it produces, with the human body having the extended shape of all the artifacts it has made, and each artifact being an intimate part of its biology and brain.
Cool. All right. Almost done here. So we're talking about immaterial labor, and I think that, like, when I think about this phrase, this equation that comes out when we start to talk about immaterial labor, I think there's a ton of possibility for this. That if we stay away, if we like start from the textbook definition, it's already like very heavily laden. There's political dimensions, there's economic dimensions, there's all sorts of dimensions to that. But I keep thinking about all the other ways that graphic design operates as kinds of immaterial labor. So I found this article, how to make a risograph style print in Adobe Photoshop. To me, that is a very funny piece of immaterial labor in that it is taking a material production process and trying to replicate it digitally in Photoshop. That feels like weird immaterial labor to me. I think about design thinking, this thing that we always talk about in school. We talk about design thinking, that there's this, it's not the production of pixels, it's not the production of anything physical. it's not even the production of ideas. In some ways, to me, like when we talk about design thinking, it's a little bit the reproduction of an ideology of design. It's this idea that that there are sort of ways to, there's a hyper-efficient way to sort of break down any singular problem. And then lastly is like further kind of immaterialities that surface in the forms of like mock-ups or 3D renderings, and just like the constant replication of physical, like physically instantiated things that don't exist. So if you've ever used like a sort of mock-up image, there's an interesting form of immaterial labor that gets produced. Or this weekend, I had a friend come in who works for Apple, and he talked about the production process for all graphics for Apple and how they operate between working with photographing a physical thing and then in detail recreating that entire physical thing as a 3D rendering that you have maximum control over. Okay, so I have a couple of final things of just examples of ways that people have tried to create representations, materializations of immaterial labor, or at least renegotiations of immaterial labor. So this is a kind of incense that takes precisely 20 minutes, which is the average length of a smoke break. So if you're working from home and you can't take smoke breaks anymore, this incense is like a time measurement of a smoke break. Or these cups that, I think I showed those already, didn't I? Yeah. I like these lighters. I thought these were kind of funny. Different, going back to that sort of incense thing, running on empty, but like 24/7, and so forth. So I guess for this week, what I want you to do, or for the next 2 weeks, for this next following week, as you're finishing up this project, what I would like you to do is, I'm on the wrong slide. I was going to ask this question, but I'm running out of time. All right, I'll come back to that. What I want you to do this week is I want you to keep your eyes open this week. I want you to look at the different ways that your labor or the labor of others is, whether it's material or whether it's immaterial, whether it is, whether that labor is being presented or whether that labor is being obfuscated. Those are the questions I want you to ask whenever you're performing any task this week. Sound good? And then maybe if you see something, tell me if you can see the labor that went into it. Anything that you see, see if you can take out the labor into it, if it's present in there somewhere. Okay. So next week, or recorded, or at some point, we're going to talk a little bit more about effective labor. We're going to talk about social reproduction, and we're going to talk about some of the ways that labor presented as being completely divorced from home, like the notion of work, what that means. Okay, so that's all I've got for now. And in the rest of the time, I would like to meet with people about this final project. Sound good? Great. So, let me just do this. We'll use this as an open working time, and then we'll go from there. Who wants to go first? Who's after that? Vanessa. Who's next? I got some names. AI line?
Honestly, I made so many things. I'm so sure.
Who's next?
Because I made Pokemon cards for my friend. You see all my friends?
Who's next? Who's got that? Is that it? Nobody else? Great. I need to see you. That's it. You gotta show some. You gotta show us. What? You were working towards it, right?
Yeah, well, like I think you have to extract the data out of it.
Okay. Alright. Alright, that's okay. Well, let's meet this weekend. Anyone else? Okay, that's easy. We can get through that. No trouble. Sorry, come on down.
So if I go right now, and I'm gonna finish
Yeah.
and the reason so if I can start
Do it on Monday or Wednesday.
okay, cool.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
If Ken, 'cause I would love to have things.
And there's gonna be that. I mean, if they do it with like the printer, we're doing like a single. Like it'll be done, but it's just not resold on Tuesday. Okay. The resold version will be done on Wednesday. But it'll be done. Is that cool?
Yeah. No, I'll send an email about it. I wrote about it. Sounds
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see, where are we at? Can you remind me what we're looking at?
Oh my gosh.
Sound?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
how's your single one?
Oh.
Hey. That's a good.
What is how is the footage going to match the dialogue?
Oh. Dude. I'm like freaking weird. Like website where we play games that show that they always have like one present. Giving very
Not a great bootleg. Huh?
You have a mail.
That's her tactile. Isn't that great?
No, I'm just curious. I mean, it could be a thing.
Huh? What do you mean what way?
Okay, this is great.
This is not my actual.
Which is everything's in the big idea. And I'm not sure how this is going to translate other than the which is fine. But I kind of think that it would be good to have that detail a little bit more mapped out before you shoot. Or that tie into your whole thing. So like I think it's here, I think the writing is here. But it feels like there's like a bunch of formal emblems. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering if we can. So okay, so here's an example. There was this beautiful piece. Did you see the charade shot exhibition a few years ago? That was at. Yeah. You went to the one in Mocha? Oh, okay. So at Mocha, there was this room, and there were these two screens. There was this beautiful narrative where it was sort of all of the women in this village and all of the men in this village. They were constantly, like, and it was with her, like, eye contact, wearing black, like, and, but, like, it was like a two-channel installation, and that they were both against, they were, like, it operated like a and your host operates like a monologue. And so I think like translating that dialogue into your formal like your formal plan.
Oh my god.
So it could be that dialogue is represented by two people, right? It could be that dialogue is represented by two different treatments of film. It could be that the dialogue is represented in the realm of like, what was it, Vertigo and The Devil is a Winner. Yeah, so like that, you can't really build those two films into a dialogue because they're both. It would be kind of funny to like.
Oh, okay.
Build you could. There's two things. Like you could build the dialogue against. You could bring in what you perceive as something that's starting to transcend. Like I don't know, like That's not yeah. But I think because right now it's there, like it's all there.
People like people realize
No, I think you can bake the ideas into then it'll be easier in like I think right now it feels like this is a show about like living in their trust. Wow. Rather than
and then foreshadowing the next
like represent some kind of like to have a more direct
No, that's not my.
It was for a space of 10 people. And it's like,
No, I just told you that.
And it's very being strapped down, clean, a lot of money, and this and that. And then after that, I felt like I was meeting with like a blow dryer. And I
had to make another one.
Like, how can we translate the idea to, like, what are the options for drawings? Like, we can, like, obviously the most clear thing is, like, image to text, right? So image to text is, like, optic. Like, let's go to screen father. What's that say?
Wow.
Let's just scatter in the dark. You can find, like, you find a corresponding image. Another option you could start to do is, yeah, like what you said, is like so that idea is like where you start to take isolates and then you literally try to isolate them. You actually perform the thing off of the image, you know?
So it's like
I wonder if the box should be like that.
Yeah, they were wondering if it's like this.
Because I've been watching drawing A's.
I guess you started the alphabet.
Maybe it's like a map.
Oh, wait. I'm cooking.
Wait, no, we
I want this.
This was like semen. You're like the US
Try it first. Like, do a super fit walkthrough. And read it out loud. Even though you know you're right. Just think of it and then watch it. And like, bring it in and edit it. And if it's not working, that way you'll have to say, like, nudge the plan. You gotta know, like, it's all there. It's just but you even like all of and I say that as your plan, you have lots of exciting plans. I just want to see them. I think you're in a good spot. All of it, my advice is just track above. I think do it. But I would say do a walkthrough. Do a walkthrough just so you know. No, what I'm getting is you might do it, and then you might find that the image of yourself in the camera might not be what you actually might make you like in the dialogue about normal things, and then you might keep then when you see it, then you can dialogue about stuff. So I think this like I want you to do it, and then that will give you the time. Okay. thing where like I need to somehow keep this aspect, but I need to figure out a way to decenter myself in this moment. You know what I mean? It's like so that you can anticipate, you know, those changes. You know. Do you understand? So in animation.
Oh, like those things that say like what? Not really
Yes, exactly. It's a little bit like what you do. And it's not because I don't think you can do any of these things, it's just I just want to make sure that you have the opportunity to make this story. And so you don't get to replace the reality, you don't have to shit. Everyone's reading like this, like, good work. It's great. This is great. The footage looks really nice. The text is going to be great. No sweat. Vanessa. It sounded meaner than I meant it to be. Yeah, sorry. You don't show me the video first? Sure. Yeah, because the whole point is if making a video is that it should transfer. So I can't get the concept from the video. But if you tell me first, then I'm not right.
Okay.
Sorry, it's 2 minutes. So it's sinister.
It's taking volume is very necessary for this. It's just but there is that's necessarily like
This is one of all the kids, right? It's all the kids are cool, right?
yeah, so yeah, there's a new kids do it, kids didn't know you're
I mean, I got that you recreated.
I'm not only became, that's exactly neuroscience.
Oh, it's like a skit. It's a skit. It's like going towards this thing, and then
This was like more like you could like hear it, like the music, the way it like leads onto it, and then it shoots to like me actually going to the digestive cut. It brings that division perspective because the other footage, the grading from other perspectives, yeah. The grading of this, and this could be like an hour perspective, like that I've stopped and I'm watching. Right? So a lot of these websites like actually takes 7 minutes and then it goes to something that's supposed to be what's turned out to be like a little more like important. And actually just to get across the labor my friends with them spending is like I saw the movie but it was pretty scary in the beginning and then I started laughing. It was like kind of weird. It's funny. So what I'm gonna do is like all of the movie and I'm using suggestions but it's like to create that scary. So like it's just a show and just enjoy playing frisbee. The music is very in itself sinister.
I mean, the thing about sinister is it starts with that hanging scene. Right?
It starts with that hanging scene and then like when he's in the pocket, when he goes and he watches the camp footages, it's showing just these families and doing something maybe
but what I mean is in the movie defines you for those to be seen. Because the first Super 8 footage, literally people being raised up and that's the horrifying thing in the movie. Because when it gets down to like those like things, we've already established that the Super 8 is sinister. You know what I mean?
I think the reason that movie is because they were just trying to create plot of the tree. They were trying to go down the tree in the very beginning of the scene. When he gets to the house, he doesn't tell the family where he lives. He's trying to hide. He's showing that tree because he's showing the tree, and then they actually they show the tree. They're trying to build the house. I get that they are paying us here. Or to like, he didn't tell his family about this tree, and then in the movie, the first clip, you see the tree. That they're getting the
Okay, so is this doing what you want?
Yes, and then one of the experiments did like trying to get people to understand themselves. And they don't understand the movies. They understand why something like something like me coming in with a knife. But I think in itself, when you watch it, you can see it. When you see the first series, but that's what happened. And then there's a second one, and maybe for the next week, I wanted to find one because he finds it, it's really cool, right? I'm going to do a USB stuff. So he's kind of nervous.
I'm skeptical of that.
He's kind of only because I wanted to organize it, but he puts it in a box, and I wanted to make it and then there's two USBs in there, and they're both made specifically. It's like family mode.
But you're using Super 8, right? Yeah. So if you're going to use a Super 8, if you're going to use USBs, then it should be in like low jack.
Yeah, I grabbed that. I could fix it. The camera was hard, but wasn't the camera to make that right. But the only thing is like to get those tapes and
no, I mean you could fake that stuff. You can always get.
That was my second idea. So I was going to use a tape, like really good tape, and then I have it was
No, I think you just have to make a decision.
But like, I was going to make specific videos. This one's going to be I feel like that is the thing, like in the movie, like the family hanging out in the big home is so it's like in such a cool way, like make such a wholesome thing so sensory. I wanted to like when you first watch the movie, when you click on it to see the names, like it's like this is when the film was filmed. Maybe I can make it like 1997, whatever I want to do, make it long, and then my next video I want to do the same concept, and then like it's builds up 2 years, and then I read something. Or maybe like I just like to me like this movie was especially special. Sweet little skits just hanging out with their family, and it's like the most gorgeous thing. But it's like that's my instinct. And then using it for Sinister, one of my favorite ones was as
It sounds like you've got a lot of plans, so just do it. I think it's good. Just do it. Yeah. Nothing. I think it's good. I think in the interest of time, just get her done. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I also like the
I wonder if it would be worth it to watch a few more horror movies and not just try to recreate them, but try to see how tension is there. Have you looked at like how is it like disciplined? Like what's the move with it? Like what is like it's the jump scare? You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying you have to make it. I mean, you're kind of doing a shot for shot. You don't have to worry about it so much.
I mean, this situation is I'm trying to decipher where we started to say that's manipulated. But I can do more like
I mean the whole premise.
That's funny. It's like the way it would like the way that those cancels would go from like static sound to the that looks different.
Sounds good. Go for it. I think next project, try to do experiment a bit more widely.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no,
Just so that you have a little bit more room to experiment.
I was watching you
Yeah.
I already have an idea for it, which I would love to talk to you about another time.
Okay, cool.
Get to know.
Alright, cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so in I Spy books, the photos are, like, this is right now very fast. And it feels, I think it's going, you know, it's like in the I Spy books, they like simulate effects in the way that light is preserved. They kind of, there's a ton of different stuff. In certain points there's concentration, right? You know what I mean? Like, so I think if this is the idea now, I think you need to, it needs like way more thought. The way the videos like, I would do this in a studio. I do it maybe on a light or a fog glass background. I would play with lighting, I would play with gels. I would like if, because the operation of this is now the photo, is the central piece. If it's the photo is the central piece, then I think you have to go you have to really make a photo into something really beautiful. Like really, really because this just feels like stuff off wooden on it, right? So I needed to get out of the DIY realm. And then I find micro narrative. Sometimes it'll be like a dog dressed as a fire engine on the other side. I think we need something that's like and then the other thing is like then also the website. If it's really about this, then I think the website or the image should maybe be the full and it should be probably a few images. And maybe, you know, what could be good is like using your channels and other people's channels. And the point is, I feel like I'm a little worried about this right now because it's week 3 and so if this is the idea that I think, then it's not that any idea you have works. So this is the thing. Even in like go like take a full day in front first and
yeah, that's right.
Like I would say, like look at the ice cream. Look at the product. Celine. I do. You were here last week, right?
No, I was.
Yeah.
So I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it works, but it's not. If I have CSS, it looks like this. It's like, I have like my word banks, and I have like the functions that generate random sentences. The one that's earlier, it's all and then I need to make one.
Keep one that's to keep your man.
To keep your man.
Yeah, those are like old, like you know, like those old magazines.
Oh yeah.
Another day.
I have
We steak it, so I'm prepared to this. I steak them.
it's like here's your so it's like stuff like this that looks like that sounds like this and all I have to do now is CSS all of it.
Are you gonna CSS it or are you gonna use? Wait, what is the? Can you show me the visual like genre you want?
Yeah, I'll show you.
I remember it now.
Is it coming back to you? Okay.
But I'm wondering like.
Stuff like.
Yeah. This is it. This is it. Like so that it a little bit trendy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like okay.
It's like really but like kind of sterile and kind of
Like and it feels like the second version. Like there's a bunch of people did a thing and now.
like a copy of the thing.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the visual way we want to go. Something like this. And I have a bunch of characters, but I'm not very good at writing.
You get it?
Inefficient.
That's okay.
Especially when I have a bunch of different sentences, so like there's like Designer's Manifesto, or like a number of tips to upload your generator practice, something like that. But right now it only generates like the most recent one I have.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So we have to randomly.
So now I just have to randomly select between all of them.
Show me where you're writing the code to like that code.
This is like
Generate random function. Pick random word. Oh, I see what you mean. So like there's kind of a bunch of different genres, right?
And they're separated by these of what they are. Actually, the way they say
So maybe what you need is a random array.
of functions.
You need an array to randomly pick as a design practice.
It would be to.
Or no.
I guess I would have to make. Oh, okay, wait, hold on, I got it. I think I get it.
Yeah.
I need to. Basically, right now, all of them are functions. Like they're not unique.
Yeah.
I guess I have to make them.
Oh yeah. Let's just do that. Why don't we do this? You got it. So it's like generate random phrase.
You just don't know for now.
Yeah, let's just do one.
We're gonna waste so much time.
Okay. So then we're going to get on phrase rounding up.
Yeah, okay. I'm about to leave. We had a public last week.
Amazing. Awesome. Nice, thank you. Awesome. That rocks.
Yeah, is this okay? Like,
Math for math.
hopefully. Seems fine.
Field starts 6.
I tripped on it.
Okay. Let's just do this.
Whose is it? 11.
Then
Bye.
we're going to do that. 4, 6, 3, 3, okay? And then I think we can do.
Do I need to make an array? Is that impossible?
Yeah, I think there's a way, but the easier way right now, if you want to,
Yeah.
is if phrase equals So this is a shitty way to do it. Like you should do it. There's a much better way to do it. But this will be enough to get it working.
Yeah, that's true. They're different. One of my best friends is a rock pilot there.
Oh, no.
I was locked in. I don't know.
You're not here?
I'm the concept that sits more in the process. Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Oh,
Shannon Hawkins, Ella, Jeff, Sid. She's on Sid better now. Yes, she's a good character. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. She gave her.
Ready?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is like magic.
Okay, wait 1 second. Let's see if we can just do it with a little bit less code, okay?
Okay. Awesome. Take care. Take care.
You know what I think you should do?
Yeah.
1 second. Let's see if we can do this first. Phrase. Let's do this. Generate. Generate. Oh no. Run. Random function. Eval. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it'll work.
By the way, Adarsh, I'm sorry I couldn't answer your question. But this actually, when you only have one camera attached to it, it doesn't do anything. When it's made more for like events, and I didn't want to borrow like another camera from the guys, and like I don't know. I feel like just one is enough. It would be funny if I had. Not recording, but live streaming a part of it. Yes. It's like, you know, yeah, you press a button and then it's another camera. It's funny. Yeah.
Awesome.
So now if you add more, you just add.
Yeah. Okay, just change this. I changed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was curious how.
You know what might be kind of nice?
What?
Is if you develop like 2 or 3 styles.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then you could even like, and then you could even make it look kind of designy, like I draw like with this thing. So like if this is the square, right? And then it has the text in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you could have the style that's generated right there.
Oh,
and then you can have the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like maybe you have, you know, and then it just be that'd be that.
Okay, I like that. Because usually they have like a logo or their name or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways. So.
Just like sprinkles.
Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Cool. I love it.
Thanks.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Let me know if you get any if you need technical help this week, okay?
Alright. Yeah, I will. Thanks.
Nice work. What was your project on again? Delusion. student rep. Change the student rep to the keener. Yeah. Keener is like a nerd, like somebody who's excited, like you're like somebody shows up a keener. Overdresser's good. What about the underdresser? Just like the track dance person.
That's your first thing.
Did you sit around outside and look at people coming in? I think we need 6. Yeah. The clay just does not feel good. I'd like you to experiment. I'd like you to just give yourself the opportunity to try to like see what happens when you try like making a blender like a 3D model or something. Like a really basic. Just because you could get with this thing, you can figure out how to do it. If you find someone who's good with 3D to help you with the first one. It just that you might get a level of like quality and fidelity that's just like a lot closer to the thing that you want, you know? But yeah, maybe these 4 are shade walk and dairy. What's this one? Oh yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. So you have the student rep, overdresser, the smoker. Oh, okay. The super rep. Okay, great. All right. But just I need you to try to build a 3D model. Like if you went tomorrow, who's the best you know? Who's the best person you know who works in 3D? What? You know, Soul? Okay. Look into Wall, maybe it's free. Wall might be a good opening for it. Try Wall. It's like a very easy, user-friendly software. Maybe that's all you need.
I don't think it's
Good. Nice. So, I'm so sorry. Just like creating a blender to get level of body
I think for deletions and stuff, deletions is very clear. Have you started working on it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the collection. Here we go.
yeah.
You're good. You're well made.
Thank you. But you prefer 3D models?
No, I think this is working for your context.
Thank you. I've been making miniature throughout the study. So like, I was experience with it, but I'm also figuring out assembly, looking at odd stuff. I think the big box with the whole stand thing might be a bit easier, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you should go for it. I'm like struggling a little bit with like figurines of people being involved. You know, like I'm really at this moment I'm struggling a little bit with the kind of like I think your intentions are good. I'm not saying that your intentions are wrong, but I think a sort of looking at this feels slightly. Like misguided. It doesn't feel like it feels. I think you are taking the situation seriously, but I feel like a reading of this may not feel like it does feel a little playful. Because it is, you know what I mean?
I did mean for it to be sort of, celebrating sort of symbols of resistance. More than, because the last thing I know the term is sort of like considered, there's like workshopping on it, but trauma porn, I do not want to be that. Like there's definitely like sort of a middle ground. That doesn't may not come off as quite useful. If that is a concern. So I mean I'm absolutely like taking it to heart to what you're saying. So if it
does it need to be isolated?
I mean it could
like if it's symbols of resistance. If it's symbols of resistance, I don't know if this is. But like, if it's symbols of resistance, maybe it's like a water, maybe it's a lemon tree, maybe it's an olive tree, maybe it's like maybe you just isolate the symbols themselves. Here's the thing, it feels like a kid, they're smiling, it feels like their eyes are closed, like, you know what I mean? Like there's just a few different things here that are happening that maybe if we just go zoom in on these symbols, that would be enough, you know?
The expression is really just sort of like my own style where like, I just like,
Oh, I totally get that it's your own style, I'm just worried that that's not how it's gonna get.
Of course, yeah. So, could the symbols potentially be like slightly anthropomorphized in the sense that they can also like, or
that could be interesting.
Okay. And so you wouldn't want those to have expressions.
Maybe expressions of those are okay, but it's this thing that I'm just really like I get the intent, but I'm just like
it could be.
Well, it's just like it's spilling out to be like a war, you know what I mean? There's a fully fledged and it just feels like there's something about like a cartoonish version of it that just doesn't feel. It's not.
That's absolutely fair.
So I think like maybe the symbol is enough.
Yeah. I was usually going on the lines of because I've seen a lot of artists like create their whole sort of like create so much art that has like visuals of joy or sort of like liberation. So that was like my only thing with it because I was just like I'm not art when I drop because I cannot see it.
Yeah. I'm running low on joy. And I think the whole situation is running low. I know, I kind of like the idea of them being like the anthropomorphic watermelon. Like it's cute without then connecting it to a specific person, connecting it to the face without having to worry about the closed eyes of a child representing. Nobody's saying you would. Don't worry. I'm just saying like these are the symbols that are in traffic right now. So we just have to like we're just talking about them, right?
Yeah. So
I'm not saying you can't do this, but I'm saying like. Something about when you said anthropomorphized, watermelon would be cute and nice, you know what I mean?
I can do that. Like keys also. So because to my understanding, keys.
Like a key would be good. That makes sense.
Absolutely. I just like
That's all.
Yeah. I'm not traumatized. I'm just thinking about what happens if these symbols enter into a network of symbolic relations. And I think the network right now, I'm sort of going back to a debate that I saw where an artist from Toronto had taken a caveat, made a children's clothing line, and rather than showed it up at a protest with it, and several, like, a bunch of Palestinians were like, I'm not so I think maybe like if we just go into pure realms and say and that's the joy a little bit more. Like there's less ambiguity there, you know?
Oh, I used to do all this. I definitely like I feel again I feel weird about doing images of people because regardless of if they're based on real people or not, it doesn't get to it's the idea of a person just the thing is, I didn't make these yet because I did want to hear your idea first.
Yeah.
Some those boxes are like sets of furniture, like it's a miniature. So would an artist
I mean, play around for sure.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Very nice.
Really? I actually really enjoyed the lecture on labor. Could we consider like domestic labor? Okay.
Cool. Sound good?
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry if like I strange.
No, it's okay. Okay.
Because like I don't know if like the accessibility is totally out of
I have like your accessibility. I don't know specifics. I'm not but yeah, I know that you
yeah. Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Nice work.
Thank you.
Chloe. Still by Snow. This is the opening? What you know?
Yeah, that's what everything is now. Never been taught. I'm not like
I would say, excuse me, I think there's like insufficient scale dynamic between these two. So I would say like make them the same size. And just add, use something else for context. like 2 points of contrast, right? So you have contrast of position and or something. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's something. Careful with these ones. I just want to see the general. I think this margin's a bit tight. What about like just using like a simple sentence for the questions? Coming together. There's a bit of like a line quality thing that's happening here, where like the like text is right up against the perfect type. Yeah. Yeah, I would rebuild those things. Just like that. I think then. What about this for a layout? And then maybe you could even like get rid of these. I think right now these are feeling. Here we're getting to a place where it feels kind of like your model interpretation. It feels like maybe a little. So you have to find a way to balance that a little. I love it. I think this is working. This is really working. I think all of this is starting to get better. So I think it's good. Here, I'm not convinced about the way that this is repeating because you can't tell a difference. I wonder if you took. What about? All right, that's good. We're in a good call. What about this? What if? Talk about this. Measure on this, go back to this. This is close. You're good close. I have an idea. Okay. Here's the video, right? Right now you're taking every single one. You have 160 pages. You could take 200, you could just cut up the, imagine you cut up the video in 240 seconds, and you take a still 0, and then you take it back. take it at this, like, okay, so take, like, how many PhDs do you have? This is 300, this is 300 PhDs. Oh, you're repeating them? I guess what I'm saying is maybe you don't need to repeat them. Maybe it's like maybe it's just one. And then every so often it becomes like a full page spread. And then this is will give it a little yeah. Well, and then maybe sometimes it's like
wait, was that like it was like the main message of the lecture that day?
Look after that. This is good. Do you want to like cut half of the score as so that it, yeah. Or you could do like what or like one instrument.
Yeah. You don't mind.
Like you would do like you did piano or
Also,
something.
my mom.
I mean, if you want, like, I'm just thinking, like, if you can, like, as a thing to think about, if you can just, like, one instrument that's relatively present for a single thing, then you have, like, a whole bunch of pages, but instead of it just being one line per page, it would be, like, one, you know, it'd be, like, yeah, it could be a thing, it could be an approach. What about doing for the pages that are the interview? What about a slightly different page or something? Like, what about a color shift? Like, if there's something. Yeah. So, like, let's say you did all 160, right? Then if you, like, double stitched it, it would be like 10 spreads of 16 pages. And then, like, 2 spreads. And then, 2 spreads of like 12 pages or something. Yeah. And then maybe a front matter, which is 1 spread of like 12. It would mean like a 16-page spread would be 4 sheets.
But you already have like
that's one spread. Or that's one full page. Yeah, like so this would be 16 pages. So let's say the interview is like this is the music, you have like a bunch of spreads of this thing, and then the last spread would be just like, I'll show you in my office. Maybe or if you have in my office, I'm going to show you like 3 or 4 books that might give you something. And there's some like binding options and some. I want to show you. I remember this. Oh yeah. In terms of this. You up? Can I see it? Yeah.
If you want to see the Weaver just text me because I will be there from like 12 to like 7. Right.
Adobe Catalog.
Yeah.
So, that feels gross. I'm going to go to
Yeah.
Oh, you know, if I try to do it, it'll take me. What if I do this?
I remember on the surgery table, I was like, nice.
Well, I'm not sure. Try to pull it up online.
It's okay, like, I have to get an injection from actually, like muscle tissue. Like, you know how they help you. Your hips.
There's like one
There you go.
sucker that feels a little bent. So like because they kind of feel like that. And you might just consider just scaling it up.
My mom herself had that one hurt. Like I thought it was like really, but the muscle hurts. Yeah. She was like, oh, I'm like shaking. The needle is.
That's the difference is and then this Liber Caswell, this is like a really bad italic. And I think like one thing that I really need to about the work with this project. One thing that I'm really into about this layout is it feels kind of contemporary. And so I think this is making it start to feel a little old. You can use sand, just something like a little bit more, yeah.
Like,
let's just grab it.
oh yeah.
But like, you get the point, right? Yeah. Like you could get away with just something a little more, yeah. But I think it's coming together. I'm going to show you a couple books. Is that okay? Or you have to go? Okay, we'll be out of here. We'll be out of here by 6. Okay, there 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I see your 5. So 5 if we're getting close to 6, I'm going to just run and grab. I love it.
Wednesday, like, it's the last day.
Say it again. Yeah, like 1 frame, maybe 2 images per page. Okay. Then the last thing is I've got this like really refined look to it. I think here where it's starting to be collagey and over. It's not working as well. But I think you can probably get it to work. but I think it'll just require some play, that's all. Sure, okay. Stay here. You're alright.
Yeah. 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 Right.
This is just because it's a Chris Marker book. I don't know how they treat cinema, but there's some interesting moves in here to like treat image that gets presented. I grabbed this. I don't know if this is good. Let's see. No, it's too over the top. Ignore that. This is a book of collages of like Sarah Swinear's work, and it's a really like just kind of a very fun editorial move. And they do a nice thing where they'll have paper, but then they'll stitch in another booklet. This could also be something this could also be something where it's maybe just musical score, and then like maybe the video is like a glossy video in the middle of it or something like that. You can look at that. This is just a nice piece of editorial design that's like a really rigid system, but kind of nice, by Ludovic Laurent. Kettle stitch example. These are all signatures. Chaotic inside. This I really like, kettle stitch, but they also have a really, really clear systematic. They're all interviews, and they have a really clear systematic approach. Where it's, you know, like you could even play with that kind of system if you wanted. Something to look at. And then this is like the big special thing. This is like a Herbert Matter book. That was just Herbert Marcellus Matter did this book for Giacometti. And they kind of treat, I'll probably go into detail about this. This is like my favorite piece of editorial design ever. But the way that the book is paced, it just constantly shifts and changes. So it kind of operates very like cinematically. That this could be, and also like it's just the most beautifully printed book. And they do this awesome thing. Like this is the big cinematic thing that kind of like introduces like the mountains that he comes
it's kind of trees and all of these forms, and then it's kind of wide shots, and then zooms in on the studio and matches it. Yeah. Anyways, so have a look at these. These might be good reference points, but you're close. You're really close. Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What's this?
Oh, that was like, okay, that was just going back. Okay.
I would want
today.
to.
So, I basically printed out these with big nice.
Like in the pool?
Yeah. Basically, like, they're having like these models. Actually, no. First, I'm gonna do videotaping. Like,
Oh, I love
so I said,
no, but like actually, that's not a leaf.
No.
That's like a
And then I made like
fuck with
Oh, shit.
You know? Literally, this one's an open. You know what I mean? What's your take for that?
I went to like jump into the deep end.
But it's fun.
But I can still take my hand.
So what I like now is you're starting to do a bunch of different studies from the same place. Why don't you just make a different studies? Yeah. So they're all different studies, and then you have to describe them, and then so like this paper, you know, like like, you know, this page is like that image, you know what I mean? Got a little bit of a description of it. You know? It's just like, and it's like how many studies did we get into the book? So like, what if it's like 12 studies, right? For 12 studies of a lost drama, 12 studies, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. But maybe that's the thing.
Hold on.
So you have this very objective study. You have you have a slightly absurd one, which is the taping of the floor. There'll be photographs of the taping of the floor. Right? You have the miniature one that you did here, right? You have this like sculptural one. Now you have to do like blind contour, right? You have to do one that's just you and a pencil trying to read into the space from just from memory, right? Some will require pure memory. Some require like you're just.
We never got.
Yes, but don't get them to draw because you're going to draw your own.
Yeah, but like.
Get them to do it in Illustrator or something like that. You know what I mean? What's in there now?
What do you mean?
What's in that space now?
Oh, like in the actual workplace? It's still records. It got so basically it was got out by my notes, which is like a bigger cover company. And they took out like the baker cases and everything completely, so it's just
Right now.
Maybe it has some photos on the space.
Like actual like present photos.
Why not? And then maybe the cover is just a 12. Since if you like, maybe the cover is just the table of contents. You know, each study has its own name. O1.
And I actually, yeah, I've been having that. I think in the back of my head, I've been wanting to kind of because a digital experience is really it's kind of like the first thing I think of was like
How much?
No, but it's not about the digital, it's about your memory of this place that you used to work.
Yeah.
I want you to go to the library after class, and I want you to get a book. It's called Everything Sings. Let's see if it's at the library. There, Dennis Wood. Available, circulating. Go get it today before someone else gets it all semester. So what it is, I'll explain it to you. Yes. Everything sings. You'll hear about it. Do you know This American Life?
Yes, actually. Yes. Yeah.
We talk about it in This American Life. Okay, so.
You're talking about this American Life. Okay, yes.
So what he did is.
Oh, sorry, guys. Let me weird setup for screens.
Just might be the room. So it is a map that this guy Dennis Wood did of his neighborhood in North Carolina, but he has like the same, just a bunch of different maps cataloging different aspects of the neighborhood. And it's kind of what you're doing here. So here's the thing: it's not just about the variety. It's also thinking about like if you plan it out today, like okay, I have this like photo study. I have this sculptural study where I'm going to photograph this thing, right? I have a drawing. I have this. What's missing? You know what I mean?
Oh, like filling in the gaps.
Filling in the gaps of what you think would make a complete narrative.
Yeah, because I also wanted to. The next thing I was gonna do, just like saying multiple things, was when I did that project that I was talking about, like particular classes, like something by commute. At one point, when I was just when I just had a stack of all these like transparent films, like different frames, I like layers that
I want you to be kind of accurate.
Okay.
Not super accurate, not accurate like transparent, like not objective accurate, but I want you to try and find ways to capture them, not to just use it as raw form, you know?
outside.
You know, like I want you to try and remember the place through this, not to just use this as like a raw material to make something else.
You are using on the books.
But here's the thing. Here's we've got 1 week, so you got a lot to do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So now you have hard work because as you build the fidelity of these maps or of these different studies, we're going to call it, right? You also need to build the book. And the idea is that you can't wait for all the studies to be done to start building the book. Because then you'll run out of time. What? Yes. Yeah, so start it now, you know what I mean? So that you can slide things in, you can adjust it. You can adjust it, but you're building a template, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome.
What for printing? What would be?
What?
For printing.
Well, it depends on the scale of the book and the color and everything. No, not today. We'll do it another day. I just want to see your flow for that. So every time you're making come up with an idea, and then you fail, that's good. Because it's going to capture that one failure you can throw in as capturing a singular detail in your voice, right? But what I want you to do right now is just run through it.
Okay, I'll go right now.
And then I want you to come back here and show me that you got the book.
I will go right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Leave your computer here so that you know. Awesome. Or not here.
Yeah.
This is great. You have a project.
Yes.
It's fun and it's funny, and then you know memory is never whole. It's like fragments, right?
Yeah.
There's this movie. You see that movie? Maestro.
Oh no, I refuse to watch it.
Yeah. Okay. So Maestro. You tell a story about a guy's life, this composer's life, and it just builds. It's like one long story. The best biopic in the world, I think, was done by a guy from Toronto, Dominic Keller, who does this classical pianist named Glenn Kadir. It's called 32 short stories about 32 short films about Glenn Kadir, and it's just little snippets of his life at different times, because that's the nature of someone's life. Is that it's fragmentary, right? And you're building these fragments. Each fragment should be a different thing. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to do a map that's just mapped by genre that has no here's a map, right? You know the Vignelli subway map?
Yes.
Okay, so the Vignelli subway map, it's not accurate to the geography. It's a square, right? But the point is it's meant to be accurate. Like the point is it's meant to, the information you need to be able to parse. So that's why it persists as this beautiful object. Maybe you need one that's not accurate to the spatial dynamic, but that's accurate to the positioning of all the genres in relation to each other. So it's like, here's the new releases section. Here's the recently arrived used section. Here's the heavy metal section. Here's the dance section. Here's the, you know what I mean? And then you build it as a map, like an info map of the place, and not like a physical map of the place. Make sense?
Yes.
I can do it.
Is there a way to do I think it would be interesting for one of the practices to be something like a bit of a knock to what I was trying to get at the very first thing I did, which was people, because that is a fragment of the way that I remember that is a people fragments using by the people that were there. I'll think about that one, but I'm wondering if there's a way to map it.
Oh, the people that you like.
Yeah, like regulars. The people that
Yeah. What about just a word list? Regulars, or a description, this person drank this. I don't know their name, unknown, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
And that one's a purely textual one.
Yep. Okay. I'll do this one now.
Okay, go get the book. I'll see you soon.
I'm gonna take this back.
Sure. Jill. Question. Do you got my email? You get my message on Teams? You make emails. It said, are you in school next week? I think you should do it. Because I think based on, I was just, check your email every day. It's fine. Based on the line that you showed, the quality of line that you showed in the last, yeah. To graduate, yeah, I think it's hard to sign up for an interview. Go talk to Richard, and then Nancy will be the one to help you override it. But the quality of like the lines and just like the consistency, I think you would probably do very well. Okay, nice. Yeah, go up Richard and Nancy. Those three. Good pop it. Richard will be happy with that. That's marker? Holy shit, that was crazy. What about the annotations on the other side? So instead of the annotations being annotating the song or anything, the annotations are actually, like the text is the annotation. So you would write, I don't know what you do with that actually, because that's already got something, so it's going to compete with that. I think it should be something plain. So what if the annotations were something like what if the text of the sweater was, is this based on the typeface, or are you just drawing like with your brain?
This is based on a typeface that I found on Pinterest that I did.
Okay.
It's a little bit different though than it actually is.
Like you just looked at the typeface and you're just redrawing with your eye? You fucking have to take typeface.
I would definitely love to. I'll actually grab the.
That's Richard. Looks better here. That looks like, look, it looks really, the line weight is really bad. Like, look how thick that the I is in relation to the H and then the J variations. Like, it's all over the place, whereas it works here really well. Like where it's like a little bit full. Yeah. Alright, this one. Okay, you gotta go talk to him tomorrow or when I'm next week. Or you message him on Teams. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so maybe the other shirt is like says, 36 point type lifted from Pinterest. Right? You good? Excellent.
Oh, okay.
You're on that. Lifted from Pinterest. 36 point lifted from Pinterest. Etc. You know what I mean? Like lyrics copied from. Like it's just a doc. It's like your process document outlining this. Yeah.
We did
Yeah, it's an index of this. That's what it is. You're making an index of this. Yeah, I think just do a separate shirt for that. Because I wouldn't wear a shirt with lyrics from the Jukes and everything, but I would wear a shirt that was just this. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. It's really nice. It's cool.
Yeah, I know. I guess. But I figured if we were still gonna go with the limitations,
If you can get, is this new or used?
No, I think
Nice, amazing, cool. Great.
and then in the process, like having lost
If you feel like I haven't seen enough process, submit a little process document, but I mean, I think you've got everything you've submitted, so. Yeah, you'd be great at it.
Yes. Okay. I'm not so sure how to bring this over, but good thing I'm not that far.
Oh, are you still broadcasting?
Well, I figured I'd get the critique if anything.
Oh, yeah.
Along with the lecture, like some of the lecture. All right.
This is cool looking.
Right. So I looked into like, this is me playing with real timeness. This has been here, like it's, I put it live on YouTube, but of course like no one's watching it. This is Ayana.
Oh, nice.
She just stopped by at one point. Anyways, 30-second delay, that's what's happening.
Nice.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. So it wasn't always looking like this. Like it sort of started here, the webcam was there, I was setting it up, put a little type there, and then I was like, when there are more than one cameras attached to that thing, that allows for more like real-time manipulation.
Oh, like you can switch things through and stuff? Oh,
image,
nice.
Yeah, but I only have one camera, but like, this visual sort of becomes this as it goes, because I'm also experimenting with this in real time as well. This is where I'm at with my experiments. All of the courses I've sort of preserved have been in a different form, more or less, but still the same. They all come back to some kind of recording because I do have to present this next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the thing to figure out right now is the form that it takes.
Yeah, it is. That is where I'm at. When you said, for example, in the beginning of class, like, who will be presenting time-based media, what did you mean? Like, what's that?
Like who's going to be presenting video?
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I was thinking, what if my, the thing I presented was a temporary thing?
What do you mean
like a
temporary?
performance is momentary. I don't know like how one can like grade that and stuff, but this is on its way
You know
to
what you
being
have?
a video. but-
Yeah, I think it's on its way to being a video.
Yeah.
You have all of this raw material.
I do have-
I think maybe you just make a 3-minute trailer
Mhm.
that outlines what you did.
Yeah.
Narrate it.
Actually, okay, yeah.
Maybe make a little essay film about it, and then you can talk, and you can make it into your process document. You can be like, and then I looked at this, and I thought about this, and I was reading this book about memes, meme art, and so so this quote relates to it, and you can just like synthesize it all together.
Right, okay.
And you have all the raw footage, and you just have to assemble the material.
I got a lot of raw footage to play with now.
Cool.
That's where I'm at.
That's great.
Okay.
I think it just needs a process. I think you just need a process film
Okay.
for
yeah.
all of your.
Yeah, this is what it's been. Process film. Okay.
You know, it's funny. It also makes me think of like there's this guy. What's his name? Joshua Citarella. And his whole thing is like he's started his own school that's not like it's like a little bit like you're making a bootleg school a little. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, yeah, there isn't much to. I just played. I don't have a lot of questions in my mind right now.
Oh, I think it's good.
But yeah, this is where it's going. I can't wait to show you like a collection of all of these next week.
All right. Great.
I didn't calculate that we wouldn't have research methods lecture this week, so it's becoming editorial.
Oh,
lecture.
yeah. That's all
But
right.
yeah, it's by you either way.
Yeah.
Glad that works.
It's good. It's getting weird. It's getting weirder by the day. I like it.
Yes.
What are you using for streaming? Is that OBS?
It is OBS. I figured it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I figured out what I needed to know at least.
I mean, it could be kind of interesting. It could be interesting. Like you could edit together like a perfect trailer if you wanted. You could also use OBS to like explain the whole process and bring in clips and stuff, and you could just do it from a different room or something if you wanted to.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't know. Just some thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Camera's about to die. Maybe it died in the middle of the critique.
Oh, really?
It's been on for like 3 hours.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No sweat. Nice work.
Thanks.
Jessica.
First off, I was actually wondering if I could get an extension of this project since I've been sick for the past week.
Sure. You got a week though. Like, yeah. So you still have you do have a week to get it done. So try to use that time before. I'll give you more time if you really need it. I'll give you a few days, but I think it would be good to have something to show next week, like something that's like near completion at least.
I just wanted to ask you again, so it's not like the day before it's due. I'm like, I don't have my stuff to show today, but I did buy some material that I want to try things out, and I can show you some references I have.
I think at this point we gotta start making stuff. Jump into making something really, really quick, I would say, because there's not much time, and even if you run out, even if you need a few extra days, it's just like I think like that's what critique's for, is to like talk about this stuff. That's really, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you remind me your idea?
It was the Muji thing, where I was doing a script for that to get at like the kind of like fetishization of other East Asian cultures versus xenophobia.
Okay. What's your plan?
Since like a lot of the advice I got, because I'm looking at like how people interact with something at surface level versus when they really dive into it and look at all the intricacies of it.
Yeah.
A lot of the advice I got from that
I'm still listening, sorry. Go on.
from the initial critique was like to sort of hide the information in some way. So I was looking at a lot of book binding techniques and how people do like how they'll cover the paperboard with book cloth, but they'll
Put something inside it, yeah.
Like put something inside it to make it either depression or
Yeah.
what's the opposite of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And to hide information that way.
I think you should just do some things. Sorry, the only advice I have right now is because I can't.
Yeah.
I have to I can't conceive it. I think I need to touch it and feel it. You know what I mean? Yeah, got it. I think I need to see something.
Yeah.
Dude, what about meeting me later this week with just some drafts,
Yeah.
some mock-ups.
What's your availability?
I'll be online Thursday, Friday. I'll be heavily online Thursday.
Okay.
Does that work?
Thursday should work.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't reach you.
No, it's okay. But I think in the future, just if for critique, it's always good just to
Absolutely.
always be material. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I do have a bad habit of getting so stuck into ideas and postponing the making.
Yeah, I think a lot of students do, which is why I generally have a rule of you can only talk when you're shut.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right, jump in. Okay, I guess that's it. Do either of you guys want to chat? Are you guys good? You chilling? Yeah. Okay. And how about you? How you doing?
Oh.
Do you want to talk about it, or are you good? Do you have an idea? Do you have any, something concrete to look at? Okay, I think it would be good to jump in because you've been on a week.
I was thinking, if there are places that I can't get to, I can use it for a drink, but I think also it would be interesting to take screenshots and picture videos.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's great. Just do it.
Okay.
Just do it. Don't think about it though, okay? And then it's a bit ambitious, your idea, so you gotta get into production mode. Okay, I guess that's it. Nice. What's the shirt? Oh, amazing.
Yeah, you don't?
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah. I made a couple of weeks ago after the process. I'm gonna get here on time and I have to go buy this in Martin. So.
Oh shit, you got one.
Yeah, they'll do it. I'm pretty sure it happens about the exact same model again.
Or you know it's gonna buy like 2 weeks. It looks like it's in good shape.
Yeah, it feels good. I think the lesson to take away. I mean, obviously I should probably something else, but I'll buy like a regular case. I'll do it.
Oh what? Oh, you kept mad.
Like that's what I was mad about because it wasn't even heavy rain and it's never happened before. But I guess my backpack's not.
The new ones are pretty good for rain. They're better than the old ones. Nice. Well, I'm glad you're back on the map.
That's the goal. I'm saying that. I figured I'd at least pop inside that.
I will see you soon. Yeah, alright.
Oh, yes.
You guys ever seen this book? Everything's Things. It was Maps for a Narrative Atlas. It's this guy, Dennis Wood. He was in jail for something sketchy, but anyway, shit. So he lives in a neighborhood called Boylan Heights. And there's this beautiful writing about it. Anyway, so what he did, he's just like a weird dude, and he just made maps of this neighborhood over and over again. So maps of the night sky. Some of them are boundary maps. This one's what do you call it? A contour map. This is sewer map. This is the power line. It's called the squirrel highways. Trees in general. Broken trees. I'll show you my favorite. Yeah, it's really sweet. And it's like really beautiful absentee landlords. Some of them are kind of political, some of them are like, this is my favorite, jack-o'-lanterns. Where he just went to all the houses and took photos of all the jack-o'-lanterns, and then he made a map of the jack-o'-lanterns. All like the private trees, fences, like bungalow, like. Anyways, it's a great, it's great box. It's great box. Everything he did. It's really cool. It's his long stuff.
Oh, sidewalk.
Oh. Nice. Birds, just like water rains and stuff.
Oh, I've seen someone who gets
Oh, the script. Yeah.
Like all those things. I'm gonna need this for research projects.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to borrow it from you for later for my mapping lecture.
Yeah.
Okay, I've waitlisted, so I will talk to your
Okay. I'll wait here for Nick here, unless you're gonna be here for.
I'll probably be here for like actually 5 minutes.
What are you doing? What is this?
This was what I used to make the models, like the scans.
Oh, amazing.
Like I printed them out and like taped them together to like. So this is the upstairs one. The downstairs one you can see it's like it has my logo. And it's kind of funny. I was like in experiment, like I just kind of show people I did like the AR one, and people like were so confused when I told them like I did that one and did it. They were like I thought I did that.
Yeah.
You can't.
I hate AR.
Yeah.
You need to do something with the records for sure. You need to do at least one study that's with the records. Like that's like about remembering where records are.
Yeah, it's like I have like I like I want to just go back to my memory. I have like a lot of things that I kind of like collected, like not random, like really weird random things. Like I don't know, I have like random lists of things. Like
You get a staff discount.
yeah, it has
Did you buy a lot of records?
I bought like a decent amount. I also remember I actually do have a lot of memories of what people bought that I bought to people like all the time.
What about just doing a catalog on the records that you purchased from the receiver?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, there's any
Scan all the record numbers, and it
Yeah.
would just be like a. Because some of them, like, again, look at this. Like some of these are just, this is a max. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, this is a, like, but like, these are max. These sound blocks are max, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they don't have to be represented, like, it can be a million different representations in space, but it doesn't have to necessarily be in space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Space like this. Yeah. It's a solid place.
Remember, it doesn't matter what the place is. What matters is finding all the different ways that you can catalog it.
Yeah.
Then you can in the next few days.
I really like watching movies, so I have like a letterbox list that I made over like the years, and like I would like anytime I was bored, I would go through this and I wrote down all of the soundtracks.
Nice.
Or like another one where I have like Spotify, because it'd be so dead sometimes, so I have like a Spotify playlist of all the songs that we listen to on my phone. Like that was just the other video. Or when or we have like a tech guy come in for a little bit, like to kind of check over the records because the manager was getting busy. So he would just like play, like you could hear him like trying to like assess the records like over the stuff.
Nice. Cool, man. I like the one of using someone else. I think you gotta use someone else. You gotta figure out how to use it.
Yeah.
I did. I'll send an email back. Yeah. I might re-record the lecture or something anyway. But yeah. You were taking back into
Yeah, I'm literally taking my time. I'm not busy.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah. find things, and then also making sure no one takes your things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. This live stream has to be over.
It's still going.
Just stopped. Wait, no. Just stopped.